Welcome to TEDxYouth at LCJSMS 2017, Going Beyond.
Close your eyes and imagine the following. Two options: an embrace so warm it will warm up your heart, or a large, high-quality home theater with an enormous screen projector. Open your eyes. If you had to choose between a hug and a theater, which one would you get? If you would like the first option, raise your hands. Thank you. Now, if you would like the home theater, please hold up your hands. You can put your hands down. Today, I will introduce you to an idea that will make you question your whole daily lives and the goals you set for yourself. All of our days differ. Whether they stand apart by a small or huge difference, each day is filled with different events, outcomes, and accomplishments. However, at the end of our days, the goal we all unconsciously try to accomplish is reaching happiness, the state of well-being and joy. And we all achieve it in different ways. We reach this goal through our daily activities, whether it's by buying new clothes or by spending time finding new, hilarious memes. This explains a study that discovered that shopping malls outnumber high schools in America. And the average woman makes 301 trips to the store annually, spending close to 400 hours a year shopping. We all want to be happy, and there are lots of ways to accomplish this goal. But the rate of our consumption is making our lives more difficult. The never-stopping need for more is driving us away from the feeling we all really need: contentment. Contentment is much more than a state of emotion. It's much more than a joy of buying newly designed clothes. A few months ago, my journey to discovering the meaning of this word began, and throughout it, I realized that the key to my discovery is to lead a more minimalistic life. Different lessons, ideas, and parts of our history bonded together piece by piece and led my journey to discoveries I've made. And now it's time for you to start yours. To begin, let's go back in time to the early 1900s. Edward Bernays. Please raise your hands if you've heard of this person. Thank you. Although Edward is unknown by most today, he was the man that greatly influenced American society and perhaps changed our daily lives. After World War I, Bernays wondered if he could use the techniques of convincement that were used to persuade people to join the war to have an effect on a crowd of consumers. He had a massive opportunity to impact the nation at the time, the mass industrialized society with millions of people clustered together in the cities. Bernays was determined to find a way to manage and alter the way the crowds thought, and therefore transform America into a consuming nation. To attempt to carry out his desire, he traveled to New York and set up shop as a public relations counselor. To transform his dream into reality, he turned to his uncle, Sigmund Freud, and his writings of psychoanalysis. In his writings, Freud talked about hidden impulses that control the human unconscious minds. And Bernays used these writings to begin persuading people that material goods could bring them happiness. To do so, he used propaganda. By definition, propaganda is a type of information used to promote or publicize a particular idea. And Bernays was the first person to use propaganda techniques to influence the decisions of the human masses. What this means is that Bernays used special virtue words to make a product sound special. As Bernays reached a key to his aspiration, he decided to put his knowledge to the test. One of his earliest experiments was to use propaganda techniques to persuade women to smoke. At that point in history, it was socially unacceptable for women to be smoking. George Hill, the president of the American Tobacco Corporation at the time, asked Bernays to break the view of the society. What Bernays did was he influenced women into smoking by calling the cigarettes torches of freedom. Because of this new nickname, anyone who supported equality between men and women supported smoking. As a result, the consumption of cigarettes began to rise. The same techniques that Bernays used, businesses around the world use today. As businesses began adapting propaganda techniques into marketing strategies, the U.S. became a consuming nation. Since Bernays' discovery, marketing began to prosper. The billboard industry was developed, the first standardized structure for displaying posters was established, and giant companies offered to fulfill Americans' every desire and need. As a nation, we became obsessed with purchase, and therefore our ways of finding happiness got affected. Nowadays, we seek joy in objects. We tend to occupy our times seeking new, higher quality, improved materials that we believe can light up our lives and make us feel appreciated. To research more about the society we live in today, I decided to create a survey questioning middle school students about their ways of finding happiness. I finished my survey in TEDx Club, and as I came home, I decided to share the survey with my family. As I showed my brother, Dan, one of the first questions on the survey that states, "What makes you happy?" He decided to do a survey on his own and asked me the same question, "What makes you happy?" What makes me happy? This question sounds simple enough. I love sports, spending time with my family and friends, reading. But do these activities bring me the same type of happiness I'm talking about? See, when I created this question, I wasn't referring to the simple things that bring us joy, but I was referring to the ecstasy of life, contentment. In one of his books called The Call of the Wild, Jack London stated that there is an ecstasy that marks the summit of life, and beyond which life cannot rise. And such is the paradox of living. This ecstasy comes when one is most alive, and it comes as a complete forgetfulness that one is alive. The moment when we find our eyes fulfilled with joy and anticipation, and the moment when our hearts feel full. Happiness can be reached by doing the simplest things, whether it's by spending time with the people we care about or by doing the activities we love. But the real journey through which we start walking through from the moment we are born isn't there for us to find these common emotions, but it's there for us to mark our lives with unforgettable moments. As I sat there at the kitchen table, my mind was blank. I couldn't think of any moments where I forgot I was alive because a beautiful moment caught my mind and didn't let go. That night, I decided to do something about this because I couldn't just let go of a topic so simple but yet so complicated. As I came into English class next Friday, Mr. Wallach gave me the perfect solution. I decided to get rid of the things that waste my time and find the things that bring me that ecstasy. I decided to become a minimalist, a person who owns little material possessions. To back away from the world of consuming Edward Bernays helped create and travel back to the simpler times. To be honest, I already was a materialist back then, as I didn't spend much time obsessing with social media and such. But I did, however, spend a good amount of time in front of the television. For my minimalistic experience, I banned television and social media and decided to spend a minimal amount of time in the various transportation modes and on my phone. I completely limited the amount of clothing I'm allowed to wear and the amount of school supplies I'm allowed to carry. From here, I transported to here. This experience lasted 3 weeks. 3 weeks of no Netflix, no Instagram, no video games, no YouTube, and no shopping. Because of the new situation I found myself in, I was forced to look harder. Beyond the fun of stuffing myself with popcorn while watching comedies, spending time outdoors playing games, and reading stories that make me burst into laughter, to a single moment of pure contentment. Over the course of these 3 weeks, I spent more time with my family and friends, and I surrounded myself and my time around the people I care about. And through it all, my answer came loud and clear. The moments that bring me ecstasy. Singing karaoke with the music so loud that by the time I'm in high school, I will be the perfect impressionist of an older woman. Being there for my brother and sister in a time of need. Having someone there when life just seems too much. Laughing so hard my throat hurts and I lose my voice the next day. Trying new, insane things in times my mind is picturing 100 different death scenarios and coming back home a little wiser, more experienced, and maybe a bit more crazy. Jumping around the house with my dog Jax for hours until I just can't carry his weight anymore. and seeing my relatives for the first time in a year, and remembering all the moments we spent together before the time we parted ways. These 3 weeks were my moment realization. Contentment is found in those special moments that may seem ordinary and irrelevant, but actually mean the world to us. They get engraved into our minds and we hold on to forever. We all can work hard enough to own a large home theater, but it's those special moments that count. In the society we live in today, we're obsessed with technology, shopping, etc. Our rooms are filled with things we don't really need. Edward Bernays may have helped America become more advanced, more creative with products, and more aware of the power of words. But however, he also introduced us to our unnecessary desires. The things I have purchased over the past few years may have brought me ecstasy, may have brought me joy and satisfaction, but they also prevented me from living the moments I crave for. Life is an opportunity to learn, experience new things, overcome, correct our mistakes, experience contentment, and consumption can get in the way of that. Today, I encourage you to take the first step towards finding the moments that bring you the ecstasy I speak of. I can't expect you to start living minimalistic lives and own only the things that are considered necessity, because we need to continue to adapt to the modern technology that's developing every day. All I encourage you to do is start small. Make a list of things you own you don't really need. It may be 3 lines long or take up an entire page. It doesn't matter. Sometimes, even the smallest step in the right direction can end up becoming the biggest step of your lives. Thank you.